Okay, let's start with Morne, because that's always the big question. Well, that seems to be the big question. You can play four foreigners. Irfan is pivotal to our team. So when you lose Irfan, you have to find balance, and you have to try and do the best that you possibly can to get that right. This wicket we knew was going to be slow. We just played it. We had a lengthy, we spent hours talking about these things, and we literally did. How do we balance it? If you do this, what do you do? How do you change it? Do you just have 6 batters and then no batting? Do you bring in someone like Andre Russell? And if you look at it, he's gone for 29 in 4 overs. He could have had a catch. He's got 16 runs. He's made a decent contribution, so one could measure it from that perspective as well. And then, obviously, one's got to weigh up the fact that Morne might have got a wicket. So you've got to take those things into account, and obviously we do. And we discuss every possible angle when that happens, because in the IPL, with the nature of the rules with 4 internationals, you can't just replace one person. It means we've got to find a balance. And the other all-rounder we had that could be a direct replacement for Irfan was Andre Russell, and unfortunately that meant that Morne missed out. That's just the chance we took on that decision we made. Sunny was a risk. I mean, obviously they're a very, very well balanced side, 4 left-handers, 4 right-handers, top 8, and that makes it very, very difficult. And it's one of those things, you make a decision to play someone that turns the ball away, and then we've been very successful chasing. We've set the team up in some ways for this particular game with an inexperienced bowling lineup to chase. And I suppose it's one of those things where it's very easy to see in hindsight. Vijay Murali has played an incredible innings. We restrict them to 180, 185, and we probably go and get it, and then things work. So it's very difficult to sit in a situation, or dangerous to sit in a situation like this and completely judge in hindsight. Someone's played a great innings, and we paid the price, and credit to him the way that he played. But as I said, we had to make certain decisions along the way. I said at the very start, I think Chennai is a very well-balanced side. They've sneaked into the playoffs, I suppose, by probably their own admission. But they're a tough team because they're so well-balanced in their bowling lineup and their batting lineup. To have 8 batsmen, to have the players that can rotate the strike, players that can hit the ball over the fence. They're a very tough side to beat, and they struggle through the league system, but they're starting to come good at the business end, which is what's the sign of champions, and that's what they are. It was just one of those thoughts. Again, the lineup of the batting lineup of Vera and Warner, David hasn't always worked as well as David by himself. When Vera's got it early, David's played well. So we just thought sometimes it's a better option to have somebody that supports. Mahela plays good cricket shots and still strikes at 130, 140 feet. If he comes off, and it just was a way to have something a little bit different and not be as predictable as well for the opposition. I think one of the problems with our side probably is that we are predictable in our makeup, in our lineup. We have 4 fast bowlers, and I think it allows teams to strategize a bit against us. And that's part of the lesson. What we have to learn is just how to be smart using the resources that we have. We did play good cricket, but we lost these 2 games at the end. After then, we played really well. So when we get on the slower wickets further down south, and it does, maybe this will suit us as well. And certainly that's something that we have to take forward, because to be successful with this tournament, you have to be able to play everywhere. But we've lost 2 games, and that's the way this game can go sometimes. I mean, the last one was in 2009 that it happened. That was I wasn't with it at the time. It dominated the league system, and then I can't see that. There was no tension in the team. There was no choking. There was no sense of it was just. I just think that we have to, as a unit, learn to play smarter cricket in certain situations. There are a lot of things that we've spoken about. How we have to think when we're bowling, how we have to think when we're batting. So I think we're a young unit with young players in certain areas, and they're going to grow from this experience. And from that way, we'll become like a better unit in different conditions. But we bowled more dot balls than anybody else, but then leaked more boundaries, and we have to find that balance and make sure we don't go for those big overs. So. If we choked, I'd have said that. We didn't choke. The guys were well positioned. They were keen to play today. We're eager to play today. It really just was about not firing the last 2 games. Yeah, I mean, he's got all the equipment, all the tools that a really successful bowler needs to have, and I suppose it's just about using those things. It's just bizarre what the batsmen do these days, and how they can put you under pressure, and the areas they can hit you in. So I think it's really just about taking what he's got and being smarter with it and using it, learning from some of the bowlers around the tournament and around the world. But I've no doubt that once again, he had a chat to me this evening about the way the last two have gone for him, and I've no doubt that he'll move forward from there. But I don't think it's so much a new skill he needs to learn as opposed to, okay, how do I use this in the best possible way. Well, I mean, one of the things was at the start people spoke about our spin department. I think Negi's done nicely. Nadeem did really well at various stages. So from that perspective, I think they've both moved forward a long way. I'm actually quite happy with the way, for example, Umesh has bowled. He's come along nicely. He's bowled well again this evening. Mornay's moved on as a T20 bowler. He's still got a purple cap as far as I know. A lot of individuals have done really well, and I think that particularly when we find the right shape of our top order, when we find players in the right area, we'll be a formidable side in terms of our balance, because that's crucial in T20. So there's a lot of positives for us to take from this tournament. The thing is to learn are those crucial overs, those big overs, giving away the big overs or losing wickets at crucial stages, and that's what champions teams do. They make sure that they don't do those things. I would say that we showed what we can be. I think we showed that we can be a formidable side. I think there's one or two tweaks that we need to make, and I think then we'll be a team that can win in all conditions. And that's the next challenge, to make sure that we can arrive at a ground, and whatever the opposition have given us in terms of conditions, we've got the right combination for that.